Welcome grade 12s to Life Sciences with Megs and Lou. I know, I haven't been here in such a long time and Lou's just missed me. And as I come in the door, he sees me drinking my protein shake and he's like, what's changed? Absolutely nothing. But it's so good to be back and I'm so happy to be here with you. Lou, how have you been?
Oh, not bad. Just missed all my grade 12 learners.
Yes.
Hopefully they're all happy to see me.
All on
I'm
holiday.
happy to be
Now
here.
everyone's back to normal.
Well, some of us had holidays, some of us didn't.
Didn't you have a holiday?
Well, a small one.
A tiny little one.
A little one.
But what are we doing today?
Reproduction.
Not the kind we're thinking, right?
No, we're doing plants.
Plants, guys, I'm so sorry. Oh, unfortunate. But thank you, Macmillan, for proudly sponsoring our show. And I just want to send Lou to the board so I can tell our lovely grade 12s what to do. So, Matrix, finally you're back, and I know exams are finished or coming up or whatever school you're in, but what we have to get done now is reproduction. So I'm going to tell you where to get all your information, and that's facebook.com/learnextra to get exclusive pics of Lou and I, and to get all the things you need to know that I will be posting on the page. As well as if you want to sit in front of your TV with your notes there, that's mindset.co.za/learnextra, or hit us up on Twitter, which is @learnextra. But if you really need answers to your questions, Lou and I will be here to help you. So I'm so happy to be back, and I think you should get this show on the road with reproduction plants, by the way.
Great. So, now that you're with me, let's get it all going. I hope you guys are all well. And reproduction is fun. But we're going to start off with certain parts. We can't just, like, dive into the big stuff, huh?
No.
Yeah. There's always the fun parts about it. You know, you got to get the nitty-gritty stuff going, and then the fun stuff and the understanding comes later. Okay, so we need to get the understanding now at the moment. Okay, so let's see. What are we going to do today? Okay, lesson description. It's quite easy, right? We're going to define reproduction. Okay, simple. We're going to have a look at it. We're going to have a look at asexual and sexual reproduction. Right, so we're going to have the normal, sexual, and asexual. I'm going to tell you what they're all about, right? I'm going to compare the two. Okay, we're going to look at the advantages and the disadvantages, because there's always advantages and always disadvantages to every single thing, right? Like, it's always good advantage of having Megan on the show, and there's disadvantages of having her on the show. You know, I'll tell you about that later.
Ah, okay, I see what's happening.
It's simple, right? And then we're going to look at the different life cycles. So that's the last thing we're going to have a look at, is life cycles, and then hopefully there's time for some questions. Right, so let's start off right from the beginning, of course, and that is definitions. Now remember, as I always say, definitions are one of the most important things out, okay? Definitions, you do well in your definitions, you understand the words, it means that you can do everything perfectly. Once you can understand it, right, and you know what the word is and you can explain the word, that is where you get a lot of your marks, because it becomes easier. If you know what the word means, you can explain it in your own words. Right, so multiple choice, one-word answers, match the columns, and that type of thing. Quite a lot of marks. It's 50 marks in your exams. You can pass exams just by doing them, right? Make sure you know your definitions. Firstly, asexual reproduction. This is the big word, A, okay? It means there is no contact, okay? There's no sex, plain and simple. No sex whatsoever, okay? Now, these come in certain types of animals or plants. Animals and plants do it, hey? So just remember that. First of all, it's the formation, here we go, formation of a new organism, which is what sexual reproduction is, right? Okay, for a formation of a new organism using single cell, right? Okay, it's very simple. It's a single parent. Sorry, I'm going away already. It's a single parent by means, here's the big word, mitosis. So we already know if it's mitosis, mitosis is creating new cells over and over and over again, right? Through mitosis to make a new organism, okay? We're all happy with that. New organism, okay? And it's essentially a clone of the parent, okay? So it is a clone of the parent. And we've all heard, hopefully, about, for example, like, it's Dolly, hey? Megan, can you remember? It's Dolly the sheep or
Yes,
Molly
that's
the
been reproduced. Yes,
Yes,
that's
it's
clone.
Dolly. That's the clone.
Dolly.
Right? Very nice. It's a clone, which is nice. It's a cell from its parent, and that sheep is identical in every single way. All its genes. You guys have learnt about genetics.
And a cow called Footy,
Footy.
apparently, yeah.
I didn't know about that.
According to Mr. James, yeah.
Well, there we go. So there's something I learnt new.
I didn't know that. I
Oh,
just
that's
knew
cool.
Dolly.
That's
Dolly
cool.
the sheep.
So what's it?
Dolly and Footy.
Footy. Footy. I remember Footy. Okay. Now, the parent and the baby is identical. So you've done your genetics, you've done protein synthesis, you've done all of this stuff. It's identical in every way. Okay. Next thing is sexual reproduction. Okay. Now, sexual reproduction. Here we go. Okay. You guys all know this, and we all get excited about it, right? It's very simple. It's the formation, right, of a diploid zygote. You need to know what diploid and haploid is. Please don't forget it. Okay, it's one of the most important things. It's a diploid zygote by means of a fusion of two cells, in other words, a haploid male and a haploid female gametes. Okay, the two gametes join together, and they will form, very simple, a zygote. Okay, now the zygote goes through mitosis. So mitosis also happens at the end to form a new organism. Okay, so it still goes through mitosis. But in the beginning, it's got to go through that other process that we learn in grade 12, which is meiosis, the making of sex cells or gametes. Okay, so that is the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Okay, we're all on the same page. Good. Now, if we carry on, let's have a look at it. Comparison. So in other words, we're going to have a look at the difference between sexual reproduction and asexual, right? So let's have a look at it. By the way, just for the record, you're going to get into your exam and they're going to say, please tabulate the following. And if they say tabulate the following, please, I'm asking so nicely, put it in a table. Right?
The only request, put it in a table.
Yeah, it's simple. Okay? A lot of my boys, okay, they didn't. They just wrote down instead of putting it in a table.
Bad.
Put it in a table. Okay? It's very important. And you get marks for the table. So make sure you put it in a table. If they ask, table. Right. Okay, here we go. Okay, if I have a look at it. The advantages. Okay, so we have the advantages. Let's have a look at it. We have sexual reproduction on the one side and asexual on the other. Okay, now, there's always advantages and disadvantages of things, right? Remember, it's advantage and disadvantage. Okay, if we have the advantage of Megan being here, it's always smiling and laughing and have a good time, and her disadvantage of being here, we've always got protein shakes everywhere. Right, so there we go.
Very good.
Let's have a look at it. First one, the offspring are genetically different to each other and the parent. That's a big advantage. Okay, big advantage. Different to mom, different to dad, and different to siblings. Okay, because the more different they are, the better they are. We need variety. The more variety there is, the better. Okay, let's have a look at the other side. Only one parent is needed. There we go. Here we need two parents. Here we need one parent. Okay, one is asexual, one is sexual. Next one, there's an increased chances of survival due to increased variation. In other words, variation, we're coming into almost like evolution type of thing. Okay, so if the variation happens, maybe this part doesn't survive, but these parts will survive. Okay, and the variation of that gene, okay, or the variation of some of mom and some of dad, okay, that there can make the species stronger. Okay, or that family stronger. You happy with me? So you must understand that. Next thing, individuals genetically identical to parents. Now, that could also be perfect. Okay, so on this side, they're different. On this side, they're the same. What happens if this thing is perfect for the environment? Exactly like it would be. Okay, if the parents are surviving nicely and the kids are identical to the parents, it means they're also going to survive nicely. Look at this one here. We'll get to the disadvantages later, but this could be a disadvantage as well. You with me? Okay, let's carry on. Okay, the cross fertilization of organisms to produce better, stronger, healthier, more variably, okay, organisms possible. So the more different the organism is, sometimes the better. Okay, you need to get your whole grip around it. Okay, if we have a look at it, no need for pollinators or, oh gee, check at me, I just jumped the whole thing. Okay, offspring produced in a short amount of time. In other words, if it's a short amount of time, it can be done quickly and we can reproduce like it's going out of fashion. Okay, now the next one, I'm going to jump straight to there. There is no need for pollinators. Now, just think about it. There's a thing that says, and I'm not 100%, I don't think it's 100% true, but it could be. But if they said we took all the bees away in the world, we wouldn't survive very long. All the plants would die, and then we would die, because we know how that works according to the food chains, right? Now, the bee is a pollinator, because it pollinates the flowers and it gives the pollen to the one flower or takes it from the one, gives it to the other, right? Now, this doesn't need it, okay? If you don't need it, it makes it easier. You can just reproduce anytime, anywhere, any place. You with me? So that's quite nice. Okay, let's have a look at the disadvantages. Remember, left is asexual, right is sexual. Okay, genetic weakness in the parents will be passed on by the offspring. To the offspring, sorry. So in other words, if there is sickle cell anemia, there we go.
What is that?
That is when your cells, your blood cells, become into a C shape. Okay, and when they're in a C shape, they can block the arteries. They don't pick up enough oxygen because the hemoglobin, there's not enough hemoglobin on it. It's a big thing.
Sounds very complicated.
Yeah, but the kids actually know about it, especially in genetics.
Okay, good.
So they should know
good
about it.
on you, Matrix.
Right. So sickle cell anemia can be passed on to children. And you, or the offspring, you know about this because of the genetic crosses and the Punnett squares and all of that. Can you remember that? It's very important, right? So you can pass it on. Next one. No genetic oh, wait, hold on. Disadvantages. Okay, let me just carry on. I think we've swapped this around. No genetic variation from generation to generation. Ah, see, now this is where, now can you see what we've just done here? Okay, I'm going mad. This is asexual, and this is just sex, plain and simple. So let's have a look at it. Genetic weakness is passed on from parent to parent. Remember, it's a clone, a complete clone. Okay, and if it's a clone, the genetics stay exactly the same, 100% the same. Okay, so you with me there? I just thought I was going crazy there for a second. No genetic variation from generation to generation. Of course, if it's a clone, it's identical. The only thing that does not come through is things like scars. Okay, remember, if anything genetically in me, okay, if I clone myself, would be exactly the same. But if I had my arm chopped off, that guy's not going to get it. He's still going to have his arm. You with me? Okay? But genetically, we are identical. There's no variation. There's no change, right? And I would pass it on to him. Okay, cool. Now, let's see. If we have a look at the other one, genetic weakness in the parents will be passed on to the offspring. Same thing. It's exactly the same thing. We can do identical. Can you see how I was working at it? Okay? It can be passed on to the parent, from the parent to the kids, because the way things happen in meiosis, remember we make 4 cells with a sperm and an egg cell and they join together, all of that together becomes a bit of a problem if the weak gene comes through, okay? Which you worked out in genetics. Can you understand why we do this later on? Because you've got to know your genetics. Okay, next thing. No genetic variation from generation to generation, okay? Variation, in other words, it can change, but you can't bring that gene back in again. So no matter what we do with sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction, right? The whole thing about it is variation is quite important, but sometimes that variation doesn't change. It just stays the same. Are you with me? Okay, so there is changes and there isn't changes. Okay, but the disadvantage is the bad gene can still come through all the time. Okay, next one. Too many offspring in a short period can lead to overcrowding. Okay? And let's look at this side. Too many offspring in a short amount of period can lead to overcrowding. Look, it's the same thing. Okay? It's exactly the same thing. Have you noticed how it's automatically, no matter if it's asexual or sexual reproduction, okay, they can become overcrowding. So it's a disadvantage for reproduction. The things are if the what do you call it? If the time is favorable, or the area is favorable for reproduction, it's just going to go mad, right? And let's see, 2 parents required. Oh, now they change it the other way around again. So I am going mad. Okay, this is sexual and that is asexual. You see how it can become confusing all the time because they're all identical on each side so far. Disadvantages are disadvantages. Okay, they both have the disadvantages. Let's carry on. Okay. This one, it doesn't need 2 parents, okay? As I said to you from the beginning, it automatically just reproduces all the time over and over and over again, okay? And it can do it by itself. It can do it anytime, any place, anywhere. Where this guy, he needs both parents, okay? And if both parents are not available, or, try this one out, if there's not a lot in that area, reproduction is going to be a lot slower. You with me? Why? Because there's only 2 parents. Let's say in South Africa, there is 2 people. 1 male, 1 female. Okay?
Me and you.
Me and you.
Okay.
Okay? Me and you. We have a kid. How long can you understand why I looked at you?
Yeah, I was
How
like,
long?
why are you looking at me funny?
We can have 1 child in 9 months.
Yes.
Yes. So 1 child in 9 months between the 2 of us. But if there is 20 female and 20 males and they all have kids, in 9 months, what are we going to have?
Lots.
Another 20 people. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So the more there is, the quicker the reproduction takes place, or the more chance. Okay, the more chance. Now, let's carry on. Offspring born are helpless, right, and vulnerable. Okay, trust me, I know I've got a child. Okay, they are vulnerable. I've got to feed. I've got to make sure there's clothes and there's nappies and all of that. I've got to look after this child because if my child popped out and I put him down on the ground there and said, "But fend for yourself. You got to walk. You got to get your own food. I ain't going to go to the supermarket. I'm sick of this." Right? He's not going to survive. He will die. Okay, it's my job to look after him. Whereas in asexual, it doesn't do that. Okay, let's carry on. It takes a long time to mature. Look how long it takes. You guys are 18, 17, 19, whatever age, it doesn't really matter. Okay? And you still stay with your parents. Why? You need food, you need clothes, you need everything to survive. Okay? It's taken 18, 19, 17, it doesn't matter. Even if it's 14 years, okay? They're looking after you. It takes a very, very long time. Okay, so do you understand where I'm coming from? It takes a long time to get the stuff going. And then let's have a look at the last one. Some plants may require pollinators. As I said, they don't need pollinators and to disperse all their seeds, which we spoke about. Right. Now, that was just advantages and disadvantages. I think we need a break because my brain is cooked already for some reason.
For ride, I think so as well. And then when you get back, I'll tell you all the information that you're looking for and everything that you need to know. So quickly take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, my chicks. So you guys are posting on the page that you don't have the notes and you want to know where to get them because Lou's going through all his information and you have no idea what he's talking about because he's just rambling on and on and on. But no fear, I'm going to post the fast link. So all you have to do is click on it and boom, the notes will just appear in front of your eyes. So on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/learnextra, you'll find all the notes. I'll put a little fast link and be like, okay, fast link for the page. And then you just click on it and the notes will be in front of you. But they should already be printed in front of you because our lesson started about 20 minutes ago. But if not, I will post them for you. So don't need to worry. I'll give you all the information that you need to know. And our children apparently are going to look nerdy according to most people on our page. And Llewellyn takes offense to this. grumpy face.
Offense. She just says I'm rambling on. Hey? It's like we don't learn anything. Come on.
Not like that. I'm learning things actually. So
Now, I heard about Nklankla.
yeah.
Okay, now Nklankla asks, which comes first, meiosis or mitosis? It depends how you look at it. If it's asexual, mitosis is going to happen, there's going to be no meiosis. Okay, when it comes to sexual reproduction, we got to go through meiosis first to create gametes. The two gametes fuse together. Once they fuse to make a diploid cell, that diploid cell goes through mitosis to make an organism again. Did that clear it up? So first meiosis to make, you take it from a diploid cell to two haploid cells, right? The haploid cell and the haploid cell join together to make a diploid cell again, and then they go through mitosis to make the organism. Hope I've answered your question.
Yep, sounds good.
Cool.
Even though I have
Now,
no idea.
asexual and sexual reproduction. Okay, we're still comparing the two. Let's have a look at asexual reproduction in nature. Okay, in nature. There's a couple of things we have to look at, right? We do use asexual and sexual reproduction all over the place. Let's see. Mass production of certain things. Okay? We need to do mass production, in other words, lots of them, and we don't have time to just plant seeds all the time. So what we do, okay, we do mass production of sugarcane, okay, and potatoes. Potatoes is a big one because we eat a lot of potatoes. Okay, it's one of the South African staple diet, if I'm not mistaken.
Potatoes, yeah.
We eat a lot of it. Okay, so potatoes are a big thing, especially, as I said, in South Africa. Okay, okay, they are planted using cuttings, right, from stems, plain and simple. Now, from stems, can you remember what a potato actually looks like? It's got little nodes on the end, right? And potato is a stem. It's not a root, even though it's found underground. Okay, and then that grows new ones. So they just cut a piece of it and they stick that in and off it goes. Right, so let's have a look at it. Did you all get that? Okay, so a potato, you can cut a piece out of it, stick it over there, and a new piece would grow. Okay, we've also got stolone, which are horizontal. Horizontal means that way. Horizontal runners. Okay, now can you remember a horizontal runner? A horizontal runner is something that shoots out a stem over there and then it drops something over there. A horizontal runner has lateral buds on its shoots. Now, a shoot is a thing that shoots out the side and it puts a new plant there. Okay, now let's have a look at it. An example of this is a strawberry. Now, I can think of a lot of things for strawberries. Right? If I have a look at it, can you think of anything?
With?
Strawberries.
In what way?
Smoothies.
Oh, all the things. Oh, go on top of flapjacks.
See? Carbs, girl. Protein shake, stick with them, huh? Okay.
Don't judge. I can dream.
You can dream. Stolone have nodes. Now, can you remember your roots? Your plants. Okay. Now, remember, plants have two things. It's got a plant or a stem looks roundabout like that. My drawing is not that bad. And this part here has got your growing points on it. Can you remember? And those growing points is where you find auxin and all your meristematic tissue. You know, all the growing points, the cells that go through mitosis, right? And over here, you don't. This is called your internodes, and this is called your nodes. You should know this, right? This is from last year. Cool. Now, the strawberries have long internodes. Okay, so this part is very long. Okay, that piece is the one that runs out. And every time there's a node, so here we get little roots going. Okay, so little roots going, and a new plant would grow there, and a new there we go, and a new plant would grow over there. Can you see how that works? Okay, so this is how it runs. So the internodes go nice and long, and then a new plant. And the internodes go nice and long, and then it's a new internode. A node. And that's where these plants grow, right? And if we have a look at it, okay, long internodes, as I was saying, right? A bud forms at each node. Now, what is a bud? You know, you get lateral buds, and you get apical buds. And the bud is where a new stem or a new plant or a new root or anything, it's got the growing tissue. Okay, the tissues that go through mitosis, that's where you find them, right? So that's where you find these things, and they produce new plants with roots and shoots. So like I said, this would get a new root, this would get a new shoot, and leaves, and so on, and then that would become a new plant. Okay, now, let's have a look at it. new plants of this, okay, are nourished by the parents. In other words, the parents look after it. Okay? So during that, just think about that shoot as a tunnel where it just passes down the food and the water and says, there, my baby. You eat that because I need to make you nice and strong. That's how it works, right? So that's what the parents do via the Stallone. Sorry, I'm going to go mad, right? Until the new plant is self-sufficient. It's like us. They look after us, like our parents looked after us, right? That's how it works. It's the same thing, but just the plant looking after each other. Okay, then we have a look at it. Some plants have underground stems called, here we go, rhizomes, right? Which form shoots, roots from the rhizome, plain and simple, okay? And disappear and new plants become independent. So when it shoots out like this and it drops a new one, a new plant gets made and it's completely separate from the parent. Okay, so you with me there? Just, it's a stem. Underground stem comes over there, drops over there, new roots, new stem, new roots, new shoots, makes a whole new plant. It's quite cool. Right, now, I've got some nice pictures for you. Okay, have a look at that. That is a run, exactly like I told you. Remember, this here, let me get a different color pen. This part here is the internode. This is where you find a node. This would be your internode. That's where you'll find a node. That'll be your internode. That'll be your node again. Can you see how by all the nodes, the growing points, these plants grow? Okay, then, let's see, I'm sure I had another one here. There we go, it's nice and dark. This is the underground stem. Can you see it? Look how it works. And then all of a sudden it shoots up, new roots, and it goes down. This here, if I'm not mistaken, I have a look at it. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called hen and chickens. Have you seen hen and chickens?
No.
Oh, okay, well that doesn't help. Okay.
Explain to me.
Hen and chickens also do that shooting out like a strawberry, right? And then there's another one. What is it called? I'll think of the name. It's a beautiful plant, and underneath it grieves a stem, and a new plant grows, and they're all joined together. It's like a big family, right? Hey? A family of plants looking after each other. Okay, so now, this is where things become a little bit more complicated, okay? So let's have a look at it. It's very simple. There are two types of asexual reproduction, okay, that we do, that we can help plants with. The first one, of course, is cuttings. Now, cuttings are cool because, just let me give you an example. Let's try Megan. Megan, how many seeds do you find in a rose?
Seeds in a rose?
Seeds. You know what a seed is?
Give me 3 numbers and I'll choose.
No. Nice try. How many seeds do you find in a rose? Beautiful rose. You know those white roses?
Red.
And red roses.
And pink and white.
Velvet roses, yeah? Go on.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so she's given like 1,000. But there's no seeds.
In a rose?
There is no seeds in a rose.
Well, you confused me. You can't ask me that and then be like, there isn't any, because I didn't think there was, because they don't have somewhere for seeds to grow out of. It's not a sunflower.
If you want to go and mess with somebody at a plant, what's a place? Where you go get your plants?
Plantland.
Yeah, a plant.
Nursery.
Nursery, that's the one I'm looking for. Walk in there and say, please can I have some rose seeds? They're gonna they're not gonna understand it. Because roses come from cuttings. You will always see a rose comes in a little rose bush, okay, or a bigger rose bush, because it comes from a cutting, okay. And a cutting, they cut the end of the stem, okay, and they place that part into water, okay, or to a moist soil. It depends on what happens, okay. So it's a moist soil, okay, and the roots grow from that specific base of the stem. Now, it's pointless, absolutely pointless, just cutting it anyway, okay? I'm going to put out a question and I want an answer, so just send Megan the answer, okay? Where do you think you would cut the stem? Where do you think you would cut the stem if you want to do a cutting? Okay, let's see what you come up with. Then, many flowers, like geraniums, there's a nice one, a geranium, right? This big word, if I can remember what it is.
Good work.
Chrysanthemums. I love those big words. I can never say them. Chrysanthemums, right? And carnations. You know what a carnation is? It's those little white flowers. You normally get them in a carnation. How cool
Yeah.
is that? Right? They can all come from cuttings. That's quite cool. You can cut it at any time. You can do it at home. You can cut it and see how it grows. Try it. You've got nothing to lose. Try it. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I do it with my son, and he's 5. Okay, so you can do it. And the cuttings actually create a new plant. It's like cloning, plain and simple. Same plant, okay, you're just taking its genetic code over there. Okay, then the next one is tissue culture. Okay, you're going to take a cell of a certain plant, and you're going to put it, and you're going to transform it into a new plant. So let's see how they do that. Okay, tissue culture, they use a single cell. It's very important, a single cell. Okay, and it goes through mitosis and grows into a complete new plant. That's it. Now, it's not just going to do that. Okay, we need to add certain things. We need plant hormones. Now, last year you heard about, we spoke about, what's it? No, not auxin. Yeah, it's your gibberellin. Can you remember? Abscisic acid. You remember all of these? These are plant hormones. Okay, now, all of these things promote or make this grow. Okay, now, very important to have these things, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. Okay, so let's go. This is where the fun starts. Life cycles. Now, I know one of you asked something. I had a look at it. I'm telling you, I have a look at your stuff. Something about alternation of generation. Listen here. That's not going to work for me, huh? Alternation of generation. And I put on, we put down on the net. Hit the brakes. Wait,
With a face, like, "Arr."
Now, if we have a look at this, I'm going to start going through this a lot quicker, right? We're looking at how things reproduce. Now, some plants do both, okay? Asexual and sexual reproduction, okay? What I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to just go straight to it. We're going to have a look at the moss, okay? Now, the moss goes through alternation of generation, okay? Now, here's a key thing for you, and I've put it down at the end later on so I can show you. But here's a key thing for you. This section, especially this section, should be revision for you. How cool is that? This is free marks. Can anybody tell me why? Megan, do you know why? This is free marks.
Free marks.
Why is it free marks?
Haven't they already done it?
When?
Last year.
And a brain like yours has to die one day. It scares me. Right? That's exactly right. You did it last year in grade 11. Okay? So all of this, exactly this, is in your grade 11 notes. So if you want me to help you out a little bit further, look at grade 11, 2012, okay, plants. And I promise you, the exact same work, especially when it comes to the moss. Okay, so let's have a look at the moss here quickly. I'm going to go from there. All of this is available for you, but I want to explain the picture, because if I can explain the picture, you're going to get it. Okay, and I want you to get it. That's my main focus in life. Okay, let's have a look at this. Why are you laughing like that? Life's great. There is the picture. Right, now, moss are cool things. Okay, moss are cool things. What they do is they go through alternation of generation. Okay, now, you get 2 types. You get the sporophyte generation, and you get the gametophyte generation. Now, the gametophyte generation is your gametes. Your sporophyte generation gives off spores. Okay, so what I want you to have a look at for me. Okay, if, where am I going to start? Where am I going to start? Yeah, I'm going to start here. Okay, right over here. So I want you to have a look at this part. Okay, let's start there. Now, this is cool, because what happens is, this guy, okay, he produces spores. He produces a couple of spores. Now, a spore, what makes it gametes? You've got this little thing over here, and it drops out. It goes through meiosis. Okay, it goes through sexual reproduction. Okay, this part is not sexual. It just makes gametes. Same as what we do, right? We go and we make sperm cells. Okay, now that is making gametes. Then it takes these gametes and it throws it onto the ground. Cool. Now, once it's on the ground, this is where it starts. That gamete starts growing into a plant. It's very strange. Okay? That thing starts growing into a plant. So you'll see a whole plant has grown, and that plant is an N plant. So let's get this, okay? It's N. There it is, haploid, okay? It's an N plant. If it's an N plant, it means it's haploid. And that N plant survives and lives and is happy. Okay, it survives, it lives, and it's happy. We're cool with that. That is asexual reproduction in moss. When we come back from the break, I'm going to go on to sexual reproduction of the moss. How cool is that?
Fantastic. Well, I've asked grade 10s, grade 11s, and now I'm going to ask you, what is tomorrow? Please tell me you know what day tomorrow is. And when we come back from the break, when we come back from the break, then I'll be checking if you got all it right. So enjoy your break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, Matrix. I just saw a comment. Someone just randomly wrote Footy the cow, like for no reason. I'm so impressed with you. But tomorrow is in fact, Lou,
Mandela's birthday.
Yeah, you're the only person. Okay, well, he said Thursday before the break, but
No, but I said Thursday for a reason. I couldn't give it to them.
yeah, true.
Otherwise, you'd have 1,000 of them saying yes.
Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, tomorrow's Nelson Mandela's day, well, his birthday. So I hope you do something good for 67 minutes. Well, you should always be doing that, but especially tomorrow because that's what we're celebrating. And you can get the notes at www.mindset.co.za/learn extra, and I've posted them on the page for all of you to see. So you don't need to worry about not having information at your disposal. Please, Lou, carry on with our lesson.
We ended off on the moss being alternation of generation, and we had a look at the sporophyte going into the gametophyte. So let's just recap that. This guy, right, he's 2N. If I have a look at it, he is 2N. Okay, can you see that? And he makes gametes. So he goes through meiosis, meiosis, same as us, right? And he makes gametes. So there's the gametes. Each one of those are N cells. Yes, okay? They fall on the ground. There's the one, there's the other, and they fall on the ground, and they grow into little buds, and they grow into little plants and everything. And that whole thing is an N plant. And he lives, he's happy. He can live forever. Now, the strange thing about a moss is that the gametophyte generation is actually the dominant generation. It mostly stays in that generation. Hey? How cool is that?
Fantastic.
Now, what actually happens is, when it comes to the whole part, one is a male, one is a female. Okay? If you have a look at it, male, female. Okay? And they will produce, they just go through to meiosis, and they create one of its cells as a sperm cell. Okay? Does that make sense? And she makes one of her cells as an egg cell. Okay? And then, when the time or the conditions are favorable, in other words, when it has rained, okay, when it rains, and that moss is covered with water, what the male does, up here, he releases these motile sperm things, right? And they swim to the female, and they join the female. They join the egg. And then, on the moss, on the exact haploid part, the gametophyte generation, the sporophyte generation grows on top. So watch this. If I've got this little plant over here, I'm just going to make a nice little plant, and this brother here is a gametophyte generation. The gametophyte generation, right? Then what happens is, inside here, there's the egg cell in the female, right? The male sperm cell joins there, and then on this one grows the sporophyte generation, on top of the gametophyte generation, okay? And there he will have this piece that does that, right? There it is, and create spores. And that will throw off, this will die out, that will survive, and carry on going. Okay, so alternation of generation means that there is a plant, a complete plant in the gametophyte generation, and there is a complete plant in the sporophyte generation. There it is. Can you see? Look there. That part is the gametophyte generation. The top part is sporophyte generation. Can you get where I'm coming from? Okay, the next one we're going to have a look at, okay, is the life cycle of a fern. Okay, now the fern is also quite cool. Okay? The fern also goes through alternation of generation. Okay? Now, if I pull it down, okay, the only difference between the fern is the fern has true root stems and leaves. They have proper conducting tissue inside of this whole part, right? So they've got true roots, they've got xylem, they've got phloem, the conducting tissue that sends water and minerals up and down, right? So they've got the real things. As well, they have also the sporophyte and the gametophyte generation going, okay? Now, I always call this the love plant.
Oh, have you seen that movie? It says how to get rid of a guy in 10 days. And then she gives him like this little love fern. She says, if you don't keep it alive, then it's like our love and it dies. Have you never seen that?
She's lost it.
No, it's true. I'm
called
not
the love
psycho.
fern. But now, I always say the fern is the love plant, and I'm going to explain to you in a few seconds why. It's quite actually cool. This is how I remember it, right? What happens is the fern, the ones that you see out in the ground, right, that is the normal diploid or sporophyte generation. So sporophyte generation is the most dominant one. It's still got the gametophyte generation. Right. So now what happens is the gametophyte generation, I want to get to that piece. Okay. We see the gametophyte generation as that. Can you see it? Those are the beautiful leaves that we see. Okay. Then underneath the leaf, you get this part over here. It's the spores, right, under the sporangium. Okay. Those guys are plain and simple. It is haploid cells. They're the gametes. Okay? So when it's time to fertilize or go through reproduction, firstly it's asexual reproduction. It falls down onto the ground. As you can see, they get let go and they make this part over here. That is the gametophyte generation. Now tell me, what does that picture look like? Come, Megan. What does it look like? This bottom piece here, the gametophyte generation. What does it look like? Come.
A heart.
It's a heart. That's how you always remember it. It's a heart. That's why I say it's the love fern. Hey, how cool is that?
So
Hey?
smart.
That's how I get it. Now, this part here grows by itself. It's quite cool. You have the female part mainly in the middle, right? And the male part roundabout on the edges, okay? But the males are always underneath. If you have a look at it, there'll be roots, okay? There'll be roots of this little plant, okay? And those roots, just underneath it, you'll find the male parts. When water is available, okay, when water is available, the males will release itself, go to the top of the plant, and go fertilize the females, right? And then from the females, from this part, see, there's the heart. See the heart? Okay, there's the heart. From that, it'll grow, and we will get a new plant as diploid cell. Okay, so watch. Haploid, haploid. That part is haploid. This part is diploid. Nice, easy, simple. Okay, so that is the main things. Now, if we've done the fern and we've done the moss, can you remember we get gymnosperms and we get angiosperms? Can you remember those? Now, the nice thing is they kicked gymnosperms out of the classroom, which means you don't have to learn it, right? We're only going to go straight on to angiosperms. Okay? Now, the angiosperms can be difficult and it can also be very simple. Remember, it's a more complex organism. Now, the reason why this whole thing takes place, why there's no alternation of generation, okay, is because we've taken the need for water to transport everything. Those other ones, the fern and the moss, they need water for sexual reproduction. Okay? Without water, they're not going to reproduce. Okay? Whereas your angiosperms don't need it at all. Okay? Angiosperms, the dominant generation, of course, is the sporophyte generation, or the 2N. Okay? They do not go through alternation of generations. In other words, there's no gametophyte generation plant. Okay, so let's have a look at it. Fertilization is not water dependent. Very, 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 very important. Okay, now, if I have a look at it, this is the plant cycle. Okay? Now, you've done plants so many times. You know how to label a plant. You need to know it. It's part of life. Okay? If we have a look at it, we have a flower. I'm going to start over here. Right. And in the flower, we create a male and a female plant. Okay? Now, if I have it look at this plant, okay, It has, Megan, does it have male and female, or just what's it got?
What is that?
That is a flower.
No, okay, I know what that is.
That is the anther and the pistil.
Pistol.
Pistil is the female.
Okay.
Just putting it out there. And the anther is the male.
Okay, so
Okay,
it's both
so
male and
if
female.
that plant or that flower, try this out, that flower has anthers, the male part, and pistils, the female part, what type of flower is it?
Asexual?
One of the kids asked.
Yes.
Come, try. One of the kids asked what something flower was. It is hermaphrodite.
Oh, there we
It's got
go.
male and female
Yes,
parts.
okay,
You
got
get
it.
plants that have only got the female, and you get plants that have got the male. That's a hermaphrodite plant.
What
So
flower
whoever-
is that?
Sorry?
What flower is that? Looks familiar.
It doesn't matter.
No, but there.
It's one that I got and I drew.
Oh. Did you draw that?
No.
I mean,
Come on, I know I'm good, but I'm not that good.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
There we have a look at it. What happens is the male produces sperm, okay, or the eggs, or the male gametes, okay. Once this is all happening here on this part. So this piece here, you see how this part that I drew, or that part that's drawn over there, it's actually a double piece. It looks like that, okay. And if I cut it down the middle and then turn it this way, that's what it looks like. Can you see it's got 4 little pockets, and each one of those pockets make a male gamete. Okay. Now, in that male gamete, try this out. Okay. They take 2 male gametes and they stick it into a taxi. Okay. How cool is that? 2 male gametes and they stick it into the taxi. Now, you've got to understand this very carefully. There's a reason why I'm saying this. Because everybody thinks that a pollen grain is the male gamete. It's wrong. Okay. The pollen grain is just the taxi. Inside the pollen grain is your 2 male gametes. Hey, how cool is that? I hope you
Genius.
remember that. It's the best way I can explain it. Pollen grain is just the taxi. Okay? You are just humans. To go from this side to this side, we climb into a car. From here to there. It transports us. The pollen grain transports us. The male gamete are inside. Cool. Now you just heard me say, but hold on, there was 2 male gametes in one pollen grain. It is not a competition between the 2 male gametes on who's going to get there first. It's never been that. Okay? This one, each pollen grain has 2 male gametes, and it's a tag team process. How cool is that? It's a tag team process. They work together, always. Okay? Then, when they get to, I'm going to draw it over here, so watch here. They're going to get to the stigma. Right, there it is. Cool. We're all happy with that. That's a terrible stigma, right? And then you get this part at the bottom. I'm going to do that. There we go. And you have a little egg there. Okay, and you've got all the little things on the inside that look like that. Okay, cool. Now, what happens is the pollen grain lands up here. You see, there he is. It's yellow because pollen's yellow, right? Then we get to the male gamete, right? 2 of them. You get the one coming out and another one coming out. You see them? Okay, now, the one here at the bottom, this one, okay, that brother, he digs, okay? All he does is dig, and he digs, and he digs, and he digs, and he creates a tunnel. He digs a tunnel all the way down, right round, and into there. Hey? This one, well, I should actually say into there. This one comes that's the tunnel. That's what the tunnel looks like. Okay, there we go. And it sends it all the way there. The other one is lazy. He just chills and says, how cool is that? Let us go. Right? When they get to the bottom there's the male gamete. Can you see? There's one, there's the other one. Okay, the first one goes in, and it joins to these 2 cells here, which are called the polar nuclei. Right? He joins with that. Now watch this. I'm going to erase this quickly so that you can actually see, because I drew like you have no idea. Okay, these 2. If this one there is an N cell, and that one is an N cell. In other words, if they're both haploid cells, and I join one of this first male gamete to that, what do we get? Megan, if I take 1 plus 1 plus 1, how many do I have?
3.
Triploid cell. Now, this triploid cell, this brother here, when they join to make a triploid cell, Cool. That becomes the cotyledon. It's the food. Okay? The food inside there is, you know when you get the cotyledons, dicotyledons and monocotyledons, right? Those things are food. It feeds the thing. Okay? So that part there is very important, that triploid cell. The other one that comes second, the one that was chilling in the back seat of the taxi all the way, right? He comes and joins with a female gamete, okay? And that is where you're going to get to your new plant. That's going to give you the new roots and the shoots and everything. Okay, so that's how that works. And if you have a look, that piece gets planted and everything works. Now, if I look at this, okay, this part here, so listen carefully, this part here, the ovum, becomes the seed, okay? This part here, okay, the ovary, becomes the fruit. Don't be mistaken, okay? This big part here, this outer piece, okay? This outer piece over here, this whole piece here, this piece here becomes the fruit, like the apple, okay? Like the naartjie, all of those things. Inside here, this piece becomes the seed. Okay? Hopefully you've all gotten that. Now, I think there's more. I think I've got a couple of things for you. Yes, this is the last thing I want to tell you. Remember, go on to 2012 plants for grade 11. Trust me on this. It's stuff I know I taught you last year if you were watching. Hey? And I brought in moss and everything. You could see it nice and clearly. Make sure you look at it. Okay? It's definitely, but definitely worth your while. Okay? Everything is there. 2012 on YouTube. It's definitely worth it. Okay? So now, what I'm going to do, I've got a couple of questions for you. Okay? Quick multiple choice questions, because that's what they're going to give us. Okay? So let's have a look at it. After the process of fertilization in the flower, okay, the petals remain permanent and attached to the flower, okay, the ovule and ovary walls enlarge, okay, the next one is the whole flower dries up and drops off, no, okay, and the ovary becomes the seed. The ovary does not become the seed, it becomes the fruit, so it can't be that one, if I get a pen going here, okay, it can't be that one, okay, let's see, the petals remain, no they don't. They don't. They leave. Okay? The next one, the whole flower dies off. Never. It means it's B. Okay? Now, what I've done is I've just done one question. All of this is available. Am I right, Megan?
Available on the website.
It's all there. Okay? So, if you have a look at it, go on it. The questions are there. It's from past papers. So, make sure you go through it. Okay? And hopefully, you're ready for me next week. Because next week, we're going to do human reproduction for the next 2 weeks.
You need to answer what about the rose question, remember?
Sorry,
The rose question.
What was the question again?
Where it would be cut, remember?
Oh, yes. You cannot cut it into the node. You cannot cut it below the node. You cut it just below the node so that roots can still grow. There's still growing tissues. If you cut it above the node, there's no growing tissues. You want an internode. Okay, so good luck, guys. I'll see you next week. Megan.
Thank you, Lou. Well, it's been a fantastic session. Thank you, Matrix. Thank you for all your questions, all your posts, everything that you've posted on our page. I really had fun this show. So don't forget, this show is proudly sponsored by Macmillan. And I just want to say I'm so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be here with you. Lou, it was so fantastic having you back on our show. And Matrix, I wish you good luck. And, of course, good night.